Chafetz Chaim asks a question. He says, wait a minute. How could somebody be happy with a bad lot? Bad circumstance. This is a very, very common question. I get it at least 3-4 times a day. They don't actually ask me this question, but in essence, that's what the question is. People tell me about their problems every day. People are lonely, people are broke, people are having all types of problems, marriage problems, financial problems, and so on and so forth. And they say, how could I be happy if Hashem didn't give me a wife? Hashem didn't give me a husband. Hashem didn't give me money. Hashem didn't give me this. Hashem didn't give me that. How could I be happy with such terrible circumstances? And that's actually the question the Chafetz Chaim asks in Ala Torah, Parashat Vayitchanan, chapter 6, verse number 3. And Chafetz Chaim gives an analogy. He says, there are two types of cutters that were available. One was a cutter for diamonds. To cut diamonds, you need very special tools. And this tool is extremely expensive. But it can cut a diamond, which is in essence the hardest material we have on earth. But if the guy that cuts wood wants to cut wood, he should use a regular saw that you can buy from Home Depot for $5, and you're finished. But what if he wants to use the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 diamond cutter? It's not going to be good. Not only is it not going to cut the wood, but it'll destroy the $6,000 cutter. Why? It's not the right one. It's not the right saw. It's not the right tool. That's the part we don't understand. And the Chafetz Chaim is saying is that you're thinking that you're supposed to be something else. You're supposed to be rich when you're not. You're supposed to be married when you're not. You're supposed to have this amount of kids when you don't. You're supposed to be in this town when you're not. We're constantly thinking that we're supposed to be somewhere else. Because we're thinking that we would be better off if we have a different circumstance. But what Chafetz Chaim is trying to teach us, he says, no, you have to understand. You are simply a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu created you with certain types of tools. He gave you a heart that can deal with this amount of pressure, which means that when you have a certain amount of problems, Hashem gave you the heart to deal with those problems. You have the right tool to deal with your problems. You don't have the right tools to deal with his problems. If you were giving his problems, even though it looks easier, he only has money problems. You may have health problems. So you're thinking, this guy's a big complainer. Well, he's just complaining about money. Guess what? If you were given his test, you'd fail miserably. Yeah, but how? My test is much more difficult. I'm sick all the time. Yes, but that's because you were given a heart that could deal with this. You're given a tool that could deal with this health problem. You may have not been given the heart to deal with this money problem. So the first thing we have to know is that the circumstances that we have, whatever they are, whether it's the loneliness or financial crisis or health issues or whatever it is, never ever say, oh, I can't believe Hashem did this to me. Oh, I don't know if I can pass this test. Oh, this is too hard. All of those things are simply the wrong decision and actually kfirah in Hashem. Why? Because in essence what we're saying is that Hashem made a mistake with me. And what the Chafetz Chaim is trying to say, no, if you have this problem, that means you also possess the tools to overcome this problem. If you think otherwise, it's a mistake. The second thing is what Rabbeinu Bechaye said. Rabbeinu Bechaye says something extremely interesting. How is it that this happiness is connected to humility and Yirat Shamayim? He says, first and foremost, if a person is humble, that means that they would have had to have Yirat Shamayim first. Because the Pasuk says in the Mishlei, Ekev Anava Yirat Hashem. The heel of humility is fear of Hashem. Meaning if a person fears Hashem, he'll eventually become humble. So if a person has Yirat Shamayim, he's naturally going to become humble. He's going to know where he stands. Now, one of the greatest things about humility is that you know where you stand and therefore you're happy with whatever you have. Naturally, you'll become happier with your share. And Rabbeinu Bechaya says, that's what's going to make you rich. It's not that you're necessarily going to suddenly inherit billions of dollars. It's that whatever you have will be sufficient. You'll be content with it. And that's the definition of being rich. It's not a certain amount of money. It's just being happy with whatever you have. So if you have Yirat Shamayim, you're going to eventually become humble. If you're humble, you'll be happy with whatever you have. If you're happy with whatever you have, you're rich. And if you're rich, you'll live much longer. Not just years-wise, but actually in this life, as far as psychologically. And the reason why is because when it's the opposite, when a person is not humble, when a person is constantly looking for more, then they'll never be happy with whatever they have. As the Midrash Kohelet Rabbah says, someone that has 100 wants 200. Someone that has 200 wants 400. Someone that has 400 wants 800. Meaning that the more a person has, the more they feel like they're missing. Meaning that the richest guy is also the poorest guy. In his mind. He has the most. He has $1 billion, but in his mind, he should have $2 billion. Whereas us, we have $50. So what we want? We want another $50. We want 100. So who's really, psychologically, who's poor? He feels like he's lacking much more. Now, in his mind, he's never going to have enough. Because there's no such thing as a person dying with even half of what they wanted. Meaning he not only currently he feels like he should have double what he actually has, but he'll continuously go down in level to the point where even after he dies, he's going to get to a point that even that half that he has of what he wanted is no longer going to be enough either. That unless the person humbles himself, it's just going to, the damage will continue. Now, when a person is prideful about things, he ends up wanting more and more than what he actually has, which literally makes his entire life just one sad story. He's sad about everything. But what is he sad about? This is the chidush. If you actually think about it, it's pure genius. That we would have never arrived at this thought, but after you hear it, you're going to say, yeah, of course I would have arrived at it. What's the genius here? Think about this. Someone that's proud, someone that wants more than what they have. Why? Because they feel entitled. He feels like whatever he has is not enough. Why? Because he thinks he's better than what he really is. Right? He is driving a little Toyota. But he's like, nah, come on, Toyota for somebody like me. Minimum Mercedes. Minimum. Once he has the Mercedes, he goes, yeah, Mercedes was yesterday. Ferrari maybe. Once there's a Ferrari, he wants a plane. He wants this. It's never enough. Why? Because he's proud, because he thinks of himself much, much more. So which means that he's always going to be lacking. It's never going to be enough. He's always going to think that he should have more. He needs to get more. It'll never be enough. Which will make his life one long sad story. But what is he sad about? When it comes down to it, Rabbeinu Bechaya says he's sad about a life that does not belong to him. He's sad about something else. He's sad about all the stuff that doesn't belong to him. He's sad about his friend having that car and not him having the car. But it's not your car. Why are you sad about his car? He's sad that his friend got married to her and he didn't get married to her. He's sad that he has this house and he doesn't have this house. He's constantly sad and agitated and miserable and depressed about a bunch of stuff that's not his.
It's all illusion.
It's one big optical illusion. And that's why I always tell people, the lowest form of conversation, meaning a clear indication that someone doesn't have anything in their mind, is when your topic of conversation is other people's money. People that talk about sports stars and celebrities making an X amount of money, and he made this deal, and he just signed a contract for $20 million, and he just signed this deal for $2, and that. Like, talking about other people's money is literally the lowest form of conversation. It simply shows that there may not even be a mouse in there. Why? Why do you care what he has? Is he going to pay your bills? Like, if this baseball player hits extra 5 home runs and makes an extra $1 zillion, whatever he's going to make, how's that going to affect you? What do you care? Oh, yeah, but he signed a deal with the Mets. So? Yeah, but he should have been with the Yankees. Why? Because he would have made more money. What do you care how much money he has? What are you, his accountant? Are you a hedge fund manager managing his stuff? Like, why? For what? What do you care? But this, Rabotai, is this literally the topic of discussion of the entire generation. I remember on Wall Street, non-stop. You go downstairs for a cigarette break for lunch, everybody's talking about other people's money. Oh, you see him? He just did this trade. Yeah, he made $1 million. Yeah, he made $200. Yeah, but it's not as much as that guy. It's not as much as this guy. Oh, that baseball player, that rapper, that celebrity, that movie star. Constantly talking about other people's money. Constantly. Young kids, teenagers, they don't know anything in the Torah or anything about life, but they know the salary cap of every single team in the NFL. They know exactly how much every single basketball player that plays for their team made last year, including signing bonus, including contracts with Coca-Cola and Adidas and Nike, and how much he made on the side with some investments, and how much he gambles, and whether he's getting a divorce or not, and whether he has a prenup. They know the bank accounts of every single celebrity. But how to add, they don't really know so much. How to wake up early in the morning, go pray, or even do something useful, not so much. But salary caps, other people's money, how much this movie made, how much this movie cost, they know. This is literally a disaster, an epidemic that's causing people to become more and more depressed without a cure in sight. Because they don't think that they're sick. The average person doesn't think there's anything wrong with talking about other people's money. Why not? Unless you learn what Rabbeinu Bechaya says, you're never going to arrive at this conclusion. Why? What's wrong with talking about other people's money? They do it on the news all the time. What's wrong with it is that when you talk about other people's money, you're picturing not what he has, not what she has, but what you don't have. You're not happy for him that he just bought a plane. You're thinking, he bought a plane, hopefully it crashes. Oh, no, I mean, hopefully it's good, yeah. Oh, he bought a nice car, yeah, hopefully it has a flat tire. Every curse under the sun. You're not happy for him. Oh, you just got married? Yeah, probably get divorced soon. What? No, mazal tov. You're not happy for them. Under your breath, you're like cursing them, you hate them. Why? Because you don't have it. That's why the Gemara says something that the first time I learned it, I didn't get it. Second time I learned it, I didn't get it. Third time I learned it, I didn't get it. You know when I got it? Right now. Gemara says, everybody knows what the Chatan and Kala are going to do after the wedding. But anyone that thinks about it, anyone that talks about it, discuss it with each other, or even thinks about it himself, is better off he didn't come to the world. I'm thinking to myself, relax, guys. Okay, everybody knows what's going to happen, so what? Why is it so bad that it's better off the guy's never born? I mean, that bad? Yes, that bad. Why? Because that simply means that you are living an illusion. You're constantly going to be upset at other people's happiness because you're going to look at their life and be jealous because you think that it all belongs to you. So such a life, it was better off not to be born. Such a life is a miserable existence. That's why, Rabotai, when we see the Chachamim tell us that you need to have certain tools in order to survive this life, it's not really a suggestion. It's more like a survival guide. You see people left and right taking drugs, all types of mental drugs to numb their pain, to numb their depression, to get them out of reality. In reality, you don't need any of this stuff. All you need is to follow the instructions of the sages. But that requires toil.